ESPN, on a night where home runs will be flying out of the ballpark in Atlanta, in advance of tomorrow's spotlight on the All-Stars, we're talking NFL quarterbacks today because ESPN started a series ranking the quarterbacks, running backs, and players in the NFL at their positions. And the series started today. This will be going on over the next week or so, where they get information from scouts, from coaches, from executives, and end up ranking the quarterbacks in the National Football League. What I thought was surprising, as chaos reigned supreme in our pre-show meeting, I took one thing for granted.
What?
And I misjudged it. I felt that the sense that I got ultimately was way off base. I thought the true drama in all of this, and I still think there is drama, is what happens below what is the current Mount Rushmore of active NFL quarterbacks. But when you look at a Mount Rushmore, there is a George Washington. And by that I mean there is a face in front. Now, I don't know if Jefferson and Lincoln, I don't know if Lincoln's at the end. You've done media and TV stuff. Sometimes when you do an opening credits, it's better to be at the end because then they'll say, and Monse Bolanos as Cindy. Right. Like that would be,
and you kind of remember it.
Yes. Yeah. And there's monetary stuff with that. Jason Stewart's appeared in sitcoms as well. There is something to the order that you are in the opening credits. And there is added value at the end, as you would say,
featuring Dan Beyer.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
I was thinking Mr. Belvedere because I thought Bob Uecker was the last one, but there's added value to that.
Yeah.
You are not eighth in line. You're actually second in line because whoever's first is first.
Yeah.
They're the headliner. They're the big one. But then there's value at the back end, and you may pay more to that. So here's where I messed up in talking about sitcoms and everything. I thought the first four, I'm like, everybody pretty much agrees on this.
Yeah.
Like we're all pretty good with saying Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes are the top four quarterbacks in the National Football League. And I feel like I was mistaken because Monse came in hot, even though she does not have her wallet in all of this.
Who knows where it's at?
There's discussions. And when you start to peel this onion away of these rankings, you'll see Patrick Mahomes, lowest ranking 4. Lamar Jackson, lowest ranking this year, 6. You see Josh Allen, some exec or coach or GM put him 4th. There is stuff within this top 4 when I thought all the drama happened after number 4.
I mean, yeah, the drama for me, instantly when I saw this, I was like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is still number 1? He gets dethroned at Super Bowl, gets outplayed at the Super Bowl, has not a great year, and he's still number 1? That's interesting.
Okay, if you had a vote, because Patrick Mahomes was put 4th in all of this, if you had a vote, who would you put at number 1?
Is this based on just last year's performance?
Yes.
It would obviously be between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Okay.
Those two. If it's based just on last year's performance, one of those two I thought would be number 1.
Let's do a little mix then, okay? Because obviously Patrick Mahomes isn't, but there's a reason that he's up there. So it can't be on last year. If you were to mix it, it's still Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson?
If I'm thinking of their entire careers, is because it looks like that's what this ranking is, right? Over the course of their careers.
I think it is an absolute sliding scale when you end up reading the reasons why quarterbacks are thought to be good and thought to be not. And I'll just say this. Patrick Mahomes is being criticized because of a deteriorating offensive line.
Fair.
Okay. I think it's absolutely unfair.
Oh,
because
the
reason being is, okay, so now are we getting more of a look at Patrick Mahomes because his offensive line is? So now we're going to discredit anybody who has a reasonable wall in front of them? That
wall makes a difference. That wall absolutely makes a difference. Is it fair? That's maybe the question, but that is a factor, yes. We are seeing a different play from Patrick Mahomes that we're not used to seeing.
I think it can be can be used as, so when Patrick Mahomes lost the Super Bowl, the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any tackles in the game. Their 2 tackles were out, and it showed. The Buccaneers got after them, dominated them. That is where I say, well, he didn't have any tackles. But we can't play this game because it's picking and choosing, because we would do this for every team in the National Football League. Tua's about to play behind one of the worst lines in the National Football League. Do you think we're going to give him any grace whatsoever?
No,
absolutely
not. Even a little bit.
Absolutely not. Geno Smith can't catch a break. We know what Seattle has done with their offensive line over the past decade plus. They have not invested in it at all, and we're Geno Smith, and that may be in part for Geno Smith. The point is we're not doing this to the other quarterback. C.J. Stroud, the Texans for some reason stunk last year as an offensive line, but 9 times out of 10 we're talking about how C.J. Stroud took a step back from last year to the year before. That's what I just don't think is fair.
I mean, you're not wrong that the grace is usually given when they've already performed and done it, when they've reached what Patrick Mahomes has reached, or even Lamar Jackson, with his MVPs. With the ones you just mentioned, they're not getting the grace, and maybe they should get the grace for the reasons you mentioned, like the O-line that Tua is about to have for this year, but they don't get the grace because they haven't done it. It's like, what am I giving you grace for? Is that fair? No, but that's the reality.
It's the world that they live in.
It is the world that they live in.
I get it. And if Patrick Mahomes had to play behind the line that Tua plays in Miami, maybe it isn't even close to what's going on. But I do think Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback also is better equipped to maybe handle some of the deficiencies they may have in the line. I think that the Chiefs, in terms of when they tried to build up their line, also tried to help their running game in a lot of ways. Starting to split hairs here, but it's just that was one of the lines in there that was used against Patrick Mahomes, is you have a deteriorating offensive line.
I think with these top 4, you're splitting hairs with all of them. You can make an argument for,
yes,
you know what I mean, for all of them to shuffle around.
And that's why
the same thing with Joe Burrow and his O-line.
Well, that's the thing that I thought heading into this argument was I felt like we took everything with a grain of salt and are just under the understanding that there's a big 4, that there is a current Mount Rushmore in the National Football League, not necessarily caring who is the George Washington head of this quarterback. And maybe it's Mahomes, because when you look at the other 3 that are there with Lamar and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, Mahomes is the one to be the first.
Absolutely. He's George Washington.
Of these
right now. Yes, absolutely.
So there's some of those 4.
Of those 4.
Because Matthew Stafford ends up being put into the rankings, and it's so funny, not in the 4 votes. I don't think any of us would say that right now when we look at the current class of quarterbacks in the National Football League that Matthew Stafford is number 4, and it's no disrespect to him. He's just in the sunset of his career. There are injuries that are piling up. But somebody did think that right now, maybe to your point of what last year was, that he was 4th in the National Football League.
And those people I feel that have ranked him at 4 give him the grace for what he did when immediately landing in LA.
Yes.
He delivered. So it's like he gets that grace.
He gets a fast track.
That's not fair, but that's why he gets the grace, and that's why he gets the fast track. I am also surprised, as a Chargers fan, that I see Justin Herbert here. I feel like he gets a lot of criticism for not delivering, for losing games where they have the lead. It's like everyone, including me, still holding on to what is Justin Herbert actually capable of. He gets the grace because of hope.
I think of all the stuff that we talk about, that he probably gets the bigger pass on it because of what is or what isn't around him. They now have invested heavily into that offensive line. And so if we're talking about the same Patrick Mahomes sort of thing, while it's used as a bit of a scapegoat for Patrick Mahomes, I almost feel that it should be used as something that maybe would hinder Justin Herbert. I just look at Justin Herbert as having everything that you would want in a quarterback.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people feel.
And that's why it's a gift and it's a curse. Because he has the size, he has the arm, he has the mobility, he has everything that you would want in a quarterback. And so when you're doing a quarterback ranking and we're using to your point, was this 2024? Is this your career? Is this what you have done? Is this what's around you? There's a lot of stuff that with Justin Herbert can be used as excuses, but ultimately when you're saying this is the guy that I would want, he checks all the boxes.
And it's always so split with Justin Herbert. Even looking at this, lowest ranking, unranked. There were people who didn't rank him at all. And then the highest one is 3. He's such a split when it comes to the opinion that people have of Justin Herbert.
As a Chargers fan, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. And
No, good.
I'll even have Jason come in and Isaac come in as well because Isaac does the pre- and post-game for the Chargers. Can you guys tell me what Justin Herbert's moment is in the National Football League? Yeah, no, it's Isaac Lowenkron.
I hate to say it because it was a long time ago, but he put together as great of a performance individually as you will ever see in this league in the regular season finale of his second year, 2021, literally the final game of the regular season, Raiders versus Chargers, winner goes to the playoffs, loser goes home. He carried the team. There were 7 season-on-the-line plays in that game, meaning it's a 4th down or there's 1 second left, and if you don't make any of those 7 plays, you lose. And he completed passes on all 7 against a ferocious pass rush. I think he had to throw like 32 out of 33 times in that game. And that answered all questions about Justin Herbert individually in that game. But to your point, Dan, that was something that was 4 years ago. The playoff sample size is only 2 games, which they lost for reasons that really didn't have to do with him.
There haven't been a lot of – that's a good one. I mean, I'm going to go more recent. This past year against the Bengals, that game in L.A. at SoFi, where the Chargers came out hot and they looked great, and then you started getting the feeling that you got against Jacksonville because the Bengals started cutting that deficit. And you were like, is Justin Herbert and the Chargers, are they going to let this one slip? But they didn't, and he threw – 2 touchdown passes in the 4th quarter to preserve that game. But for a moment, it was like, oh my gosh, that moment of Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to let this one slip again when they were up by double digits.
Sure. Isaac, you got another one?
Wasn't that the game where one of those, the go-ahead touchdown pass, he was basically getting knocked down?
Yes. He had 2 good touchdown passes in the 4th quarter, and one of them he was getting knocked down.
This is all perfect because I think the Bengals wore orange pants in that game.
I think so.
Yes. That's what I remember most. And what we remember most in the Chargers game, unfortunately for Justin Herbert, is the Raiders going for the win. Everybody getting the Brandon Staley timeout wrong and criticizing Brandon Staley for what happened in that scenario and saying that he was an idiot when he wasn't. Like it was completely, as Raider fan Ryan says. Am I right? Or you just try?
Yes. Yes, Dan, you are correct.
Because people want to just use that situation, and they took it and ran and didn't understand football. And so Brandon Staley, for as much as he did wrong, he wasn't wrong in that scenario. The Chargers just needed to tackle Josh Jacobs on the ensuing play that wouldn't have allowed Daniel Carlson to kick a 48-yard field goal. So I think all of this was great and it's perfect. But again, I remember the pants.
Yeah.
And it's a game that the Chargers lost. Again, not to Justin Herbert's fault, but that's what it is. So when you have someone like Jalen Hurts, and this is the part that frustrates me, is because Jalen Hurts does not have the height. Jalen Hurts is more of a dangerous runner than Justin Herbert is. Justin Herbert is very mobile, but not like Jalen Hurts.
No.
And so now you take then Jalen Hurts plays behind this offensive line. That is great. So now this goes to the Mahomes argument. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and maybe we may affect him because of the offensive line, but then when we try to analyze Jalen Hurts, we don't do the same. Now listen, if the Chargers, if you had an opportunity to pick your quarterback from scratch, it's probably Justin Herbert because he checks the boxes of tall, arm, mobile, and the whole deal. I just think we completely discredit someone like Jalen Hurts because of how good of a runner that he can be. Or we say Jalen Hurts has a great offensive line. Look at all the weapons around him. How about Jalen Hurts not turning over the football? How about Jalen Hurts getting the football to the people that he needs to get the football to, which you may think that that's lowering the bar. It's a lot more difficult than you would think completion percentage-wise. Jalen Hurts did those things, and that's the problem that I have is you look at Jalen Hurts in these rankings, and he's ninth. So it's like, what does the guy have to do after winning a Super Bowl to be able to even be in the top 10? Like, this is likely the highest that he's ever going to be, and so Jalen Hurts is not getting that grace that I feel someone like Justin Herbert has had, because Justin Herbert checks these boxes of what we think is a prototypical quarterback. That's just not, in my mind. Yeah, it's nice to be 6'5" and to have the cannon of an arm that Justin Herbert has. But if you're getting me first downs, if you're getting me into the end zone, if you have a play that is unstoppable because of your quads, I'm sorry. Like, you have to take everything into account and not just live in the bubble of the check marks that you are living in, and that's what I think some execs and scouts are.
You are not wrong on your description of how Jalen Hurts is looked at or criticized, or the opinions. Everyone thinks that the quarterback sneak is not a skilled play, and it's like, well, nobody else can do it, especially to the success of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. And I was for not, banning that. If you figure out how to stop it, or you do it as well. And he does not get grace. I don't know what he has to do. And just like he dethroned Mahomes, where it's like, okay, Mahomes can't go down, but this guy's 9. When you have seen his play get better over the years. I think years ago, I may have said that I found the Eagles a little boring. A couple of years ago, I may have said that. They're not boring.
Color green, that's why.
They're no longer boring. You know what I mean? Their offense has definitely spiced things up, and I don't know what he has to do. And I don't think I really don't think there is anything he can do.
No, not if you're putting him 9th after a year where he did progress in a lot of different areas.
And won the Super Bowl.
And again, it's almost like Saquon Barkley is being held against him.
That's another good point.
For as much as I think people would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff is 8th.
Yeah.
I'm surprised again that Jared Goff would be ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like I pile on Jared Goff a lot for what may have went on at the end of the Rams' tenure. There's no arguing what he was second in passing yards last year, but it's also a Detroit team that, again, is set up a certain way. So if we're going to use one criteria to criticize Jalen Hurts, then you can't use the same one to commend Jared Goff for a team that was second in the NFL on plays run last year.
With your example of the Saquon Barkley being used against Jalen Hurts, I don't know if Derrick Henry was used against Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
And that's a perfect example.
So here were the rankings, and I apologize for not doing this off the top. Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2, Joe Burrow 3, Lamar Jackson 4. So that was the 4 that I thought was unarguable, but we could, I guess, argue within the placements if you want on this Mount Rushmore. Jaden Daniels was 5 on the outside. I think it's a very trendy pick, but Jaden Daniels also has everything that I would want in a quarterback, even more so than even Jalen Hurts, because I feel that Daniels is a better passer than Jalen Hurts. Stafford is 6th. Then you have Justin Herbert. Then you have Jared Goff. Then you have Jalen Hurts, and then you have Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker.
That's
coming in number 10.
And then they cut it off at 10. They said Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud were honorable mention. But that right now is your top 10 quarterbacks according to this ESPN ranking of execs and coaches and NFL personnel.
It's literally just for us to discuss and tear apart.
It is. But how in the world is Lamar Jackson ever going to be higher than 4th if he's not higher than what he was right now after last year?
I don't know about that one. And how is Patrick Mahomes going to come down if he didn't come down after last season?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how you move this. I don't know.
Let's do this as we wrap up this segment. So it's, how does Lamar Jackson ever grow?
Mm-hmm.
How does Patrick Mahomes ever fall? How do people in Cleveland still have jobs if Baker Mayfield is at 10? Do we have how did Tua get votes in this, considering that's all we do is shred Tua? And how is Bo Nix the only other rookie quarterback in these rankings?
All good questions.
Yes, I know
All
people are high on Bo
questions.
Nix. Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy were others who were mentioned in these rankings. Did we miss any more hows? Jason, Ryan, Isaac? There's just a lot of questions in all of this, but how is Jared Goff higher than Jalen Hurts? How is Jalen Hurts ever going to get up from number 9?
I don't know. I have no idea what he has to do.
She's Monse Bolanos. I'm Dan Beyer. I think we squeezed the juice out of these quarterback rankings.
Yeah, it was fun.
Again, I thought 5 to 10 was where like the real conversation was because of Hurts.
Right.
And then to your point about Mahomes and then Lamar Jackson. And I don't even think we did a deep dive on Josh Allen. He was the MVP last year.
I know.
She's Monse
Because we were content with him at second.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
I'm honestly fine with any of them in the top 4. If you would have told me that Lamar was 4 or Lamar was 1 and not 4, I'd be like, all right, I'm cool.
Yeah,
Josh
exactly.
Allen, 1, 4. All right, I'm cool. Joe Burrow, who I think is great. And I even said coming in from college, I thought that Joe Burrow, just because how he stands in the pocket, looked like Tom Brady. I just feel like he resembles him more than anybody else does. But if you were to put Joe Burrow at 1, I would be like, tell me more. Tell me more about
I'm
that.
willing to listen.
Yes. And then Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, which it's tough to argue. But to your point, now how are you ever not going to be 1 after that?
Exactly.